In this video, we're going to implement updating the group details and also changing regular user roles from admin to user or vice versa from the admin users. First of all, let's comment everything what we changed previously, and the comment message will be implement, or let's just call this display users and requests on group profile page and implement pending request approve and reject. Okay, I'm going to hit on commit. And now one thing which I'm going to add is I want to see as an admin user which other admin users exist right here, and I also should be able to change the status change the role from admin to user or from user into admin. Okay. We're going to do this inside this user list item, and we need to put a drop down here. If this is for approve, okay, this for approve, I'm gonna assign this to div. Let's remove this from here. Oops. Okay, but we need drop down like select. What if I search for select? Is it used anywhere? I think it is not used anywhere. So I'm gonna search for this Tailwind CSS. There are these components. Okay, and there are some free components like this one. Let's search for country. And this is what I'm going to copy. I'm going to put this here. Let's format the code. Let's remove this. Label is something we don't need in this case. The ID we don't need. I think we don't need name and autocomplete as well. As for the classes, I think we don't need this with full and block as well. Let's reduce the padding. And I'm going to always make this the same style. Like above small screen. Let's remove this SM modifier. Here I'm going to have admin and I'm going to have user. So let's see how this looks first. Actually, not bad. When we click on this, we need to stop the propagation. So actually, I'm going to change this, and instead of linking everything, I'm going to only link separately the image and the title here. So I will get this, copy this. I will change this link into div. And I'm going to put this link right here. Let's delete this href on the div, and we need to put this link around h3 as well. Now we are not going to have this problem when we click on the drop down. It is opening this. So we have this on the user and title. When we click on this, nothing happens, which is actually good. But on hover of the title, it should have this text under, or I think it's just underline. Okay, I'm going to remove this cursor pointer on entire element. Okay, and I want to implement now changing this into the role. Okay, so what am I doing now from the group controller? So I am returning the users, but we don't know what role the user has, right? Those are approved users. I think we need to join. We need to do join on group users. So if we just write group users, let's provide as group user, then group user ID. Instead of calling this approved users, I'm gonna just write user query, okay? Then I'm gonna join into group users, where the group user ID equals users ID, and I am going to select everything from users plus group user role. Okay. Order by, we need users name. But what I need to do with this role, we are passing this into user resource. This is not the correct resource to put role inside. We have this group resource which has actually role, but this displays the group information. I think I need to create new resource, and I'm going to call this group user resource. PHP artisan make resource group user resource. Group user resource. I think I need to copy everything from here. I think I don't need email verify date. I don't need email. I don't need cover. I don't need this created it and updated it. I need role. And I need status. Status. And we think we need group ID as well. Because if this is group user resource, we need to know for which group it has the following role and status. So we just provide here group ID. Now if we go in the group controller, yeah, this is good. In the group controller, we're selecting the group user role, but we need to select group user status and group user group ID as well. Now, these users will have all that information if we just use group user collection, group user resource collection. Okay, unknown column GU user ID equals users ID on close. Okay, we need to do it like this. Okay, that got duplicated. And why? Because we have not provided the group ID, where group ID is the given group ID. Now we see 4, and if we go in the user list item, that user should have the information about role. We see role and status. This is perfect. Okay, we can define vModel here, or we can give this selected if user role equals admin in the first case and user in the second case. So now we see that I am only admin, the others are users. Okay. Also, if I check this by a regular user, let's join with Mary or John 2 maybe. John 2 should not see these drop downs. Okay. Show role drop down. This is going to be Boolean default false. Let's open this group view, find this request place, and we're going to provide show role drop down is true. Actually, we don't need this on request. We need this on regular users. Show role drop down equals true. Actually, it should not be true. Show role dropdown should only be visible if is current user admin. If the current user is admin, for admin users, it should only be visible. If I reload this right now, I still see this, probably because I am not using show role dropdown. The if show role dropdown. Now this is gone for regular user John 2. But if I check this with John, then I still see that. Now, whenever something is changed, we need to listen to change. We're going to emit role change. And we need to emit event.target.value. We need this $sign emit role change. We need to define this. We need to define reject as well and role change. Now, from here, we need to listen to role change on role change. This is going to be a function which will accept the user. We are going to make the similar request. We are going to pass the user ID. We're going to pass the role, which is going to be, excuse me. Let's go into user list item, and we are emitting the value, but we should emit user as well. User and value. We accept user and role. I want to print user and role both. I just want to print. I'm not going to do anything right now. I'm going to close this because this is for regular users. Let's go in the users. I'm going to change this into admin. And we see user and admin both. Change this into user, and we see user and the role. Okay, this is working correctly. Then we create this form, and we are gonna call a new road called change role. This doesn't exist, and we're gonna create that. Let's go in the web PHP and let's duplicate this. We're gonna call this change role. Change role. We need to check. We're going to accept right here request, and we're going to accept group. You don't have permission to perform this action. This is correct. So we need this. Then after this, we're going to get the following information. Request. I'm going to get the user ID and I'm going to get the role. Role needs to be enum. It should have enum rule. How do I do this? If I go in the requests, HTTP requests, and I'm going to search for enum. That was somewhere I had this validation rule where I was checking the enum. I need to check this in the Laravel's documentation. Validation. I'm going to search for enum. Rule enum. I need rule enum, and I'm going to provide the enum class. This is going to be group user role. Then I'm going to select this group user. And if that exists, let me copy this portion. So I'm going to select this based on data ID, group ID. Okay, so I select this group user. If the group user exists, then we are going to change its role into group role, group user role, whatever role basically is received. That's going to be data role. Data role. Then we're going to save this. And in best case, we're going to send also a notification that to the user that his status was changed from user to admin or from admin to user. which I'm gonna just leave this at the moment. I have I'm doing very repetitive things right now, and I'm gonna leave this as a to-do for somebody else if you want to implement this, or maybe I can implement this later, but it is not priority right now. As for the notification, we should show that, or do we need to show any kind of notification? I think we don't need to do anything. We just change the role and that's it. Okay, if we go in the users, let's see the network, change this into admin. The request was sent. I reload the page and I see this is also admin. Okay, one thing which I want to restrict is that changing the role of the owner of the group should not be possible, because if I created the group, I gave somebody else admin permission, that somebody else should not be possible to remove admin permission from me, obviously. So this is what we need to do. First of all, on the backend side, okay, we have this group, and I'm gonna check. This is admin is checking what is this current user group. If the user group user ID user group user ID is the currently authenticated user ID, but where are we checking if this is admin or not? I think this function doesn't work correctly. Yeah, I'm pretty much sure this doesn't work correctly. We're just checking that if the current user group, this is the authenticated user, okay, the authenticated user might have the role permission, like the user role inside that group. We need right here, and the current user group role must equal to group user role admin. This is correct check right now. Okay, and in our case, if we get the request that we are trying to change, actually, let's do this right here. This is the user ID on which we are trying to change the role. I'm going to extract this in its own variable. And I'm going to check if user ID equals group created by, okay, if the user ID on which we are trying to change the role is the same as the group created by, we are going to return response with a message you cannot change role of the owner of the group. And the status code should be 403. Okay, right now, even if I try to change my own status, I should get that message. But I didn't get this message, and it was changed. I think I need two equality here. Let me first reset my status. It should be admin here. Reload, change into user. it was still changed. Why is it changing? What's the user ID? And what is the group created by? Who created the group? Group created by is null. Okay. Group has user ID. This user ID is the created by. Is that correct? Yes. So in this case, we need to check this group user ID, in which case, if I change this into user, okay, I should, let's reload it. You can change the role of, you cannot change role of the owner of the group. Okay, that's correct. However, the dropdown actually switches into user, which is not a big deal. However, if we go back inside the group, we see that we are checking the, no, we definitely didn't do this. I thought that maybe we were doing something not fully incorrectly, but we are doing things incorrectly here. To check if the user is admin, either we need to check the group ID this is admin. Okay, so we are checking no, this is not correct. This is not going to work correctly. In order to check if the current if we are calling this current user group, why do we need to pass the user ID? This is something which I need to change. Is admin needs to be checked in the following way. Okay, so we are going to select record from group user where user ID is the given user ID and where group ID is this ID. And I'm going to check existence of that. However, I'm going to also add another where role needs to be admin. And I'm going to return this. So basically this, we pass the user ID, it's going to select if there exists record in the group users table where the user ID is the given user ID, group ID is this ID, and the role is admin. If that exists, the user is admin. Okay, this is incorrect. But why do we need this current user group? We need this to return what is the current user, the authenticated user's status or role here. What we need probably here is owner. We pass the user ID and we can just check if this user ID is the same as the given user ID, it is an owner. So in our controller, we can just easily do this is owner passing user ID. Okay, so if the user on which we are trying to change the role is the owner of the group, then we simply return with the following text. Otherwise, we're going to send the notification, send the notification to the user that his or her role was changed. So this works now correctly. And on the front-end side, I need to also disable the drop-down completely if the currently authenticated user is the owner of the group and it is the following record. So basically right here for the following record, we need to disable it. So basically we need to disable the drop down right here for the user, which is the owner of the group. Okay. I think we need to pass this from the group view. Let's define this disable role dropdown. This is going to be Boolean and default will be false. Disable role dropdown. We need to disable role dropdown if the group user ID is the same as the user ID. We can use 3 equality here, and let's see now. I think we need to use this properly. Disabled, let's put this. Disabled is this. Okay, now we see that this is actually disabled. Everything else is working. We change this. By the way, the scroll position is not preserved, which is something we need to preserve. So we need to preserve the scroll position basically in every request here. Preserve scroll is true, but we don't have this preserve scroll on thumbnail change. What if I scroll down, change the thumbnail, click on submit, it moves at the top. We need this preserve scroll true here as well, and we need this preserve scroll here as well. Let me check on the profile page if we have it. We have now this scroll. If I scroll a little bit down, choose another image and submit that, the scroll jumps at the top. Okay, we need to preserve that there as well. Profile/view. We need to, let's find the place. Here we need preserve scroll true, and we need preserve scroll true here. Now if I scroll down, change and choose my image, hit on submit, okay, it gets updated and we see this at the top. Let's go back into Vue.js developers. And just like this, we have implemented but changing the role, and now all of them are basically admins. I can switch them back into users. Okay, let's finalize this, and let's take care of this to-do as well. I'm going to generate new notification, role changed. Okay, inside role changed, we're going to write the text. Your role was changed into something, the role name, for group, the group name. So let's accept here public group and public string role. So here we need to provide this role, and here we need to provide this group name. And here we need to provide route with group profile in this group. Open group. Now let's go in the group controller, and I'm going to send an email to this user. So group user notify new role changed. We're going to pass group here, and we're going to pass data role. Now let's remove this to-do, and we have a couple of notifications, by the way. If you think this playlist is worth something, you are already subscribed to the channel and you have already liked this video, and you want to do something additional, maybe you can check my Patreon page. The request has been rejected. Okay, these are old notifications, but now I'm going to change this John2 users role into admin, and we see notification here, role changed. Okay, your role was changed into admin for group vue.js developers. I click on this group, it opens that group. Okay, now John2 is also admin, and if I log out and log in as John2, and it opens this vue.js developers, goes to the users, it also has this possibility to change the role, okay, of another users, except the owner of the group. It can change its own role as well. Okay, now it changed the user Zura's role into an admin, which triggered another notification. Your role was changed into admin for group vue.js developers. Okay, let's change this back into user. We're going to see another notification. Your role was changed into user for group vue.js developers. Open the group. Okay, great. Now let's commit the changes, everything, and let's give it proper message. Implement user role change inside group. We added several more things, like restricting to change the role for if the user is owner, etc. But we can just write this single comment message at the moment. Now, what I'm going to do is add about tab right here and display the about section of the group, because this group has that information as well, and it should be possible also to edit the group name and about text from there. Let's go in the group view. We're going to find the section for the tabs. That should only be visible if is current user admin. This is called about, and let's duplicate this, and here we need this about content. So let me save this. We see this about. Okay, there are three main fields basically, and we can see this inside group model. Here are those three fields. Group model from app components. But well, we need these same three fields inside the about. So I'm going to make them reusable. Let me just, how I can make them reusable. I need to create separate component, and I need to pass a form as a prop to this component. So let me actually grab this, and I'm going to create separate component, but inside the group. We put everything so far in this components app, and we need to take care of this a little bit later maybe, but for now let's just create this inside the components app. I will take care of this a little bit later maybe. Group model that should be group form. Okay, let's paste everything. We need form, so this is the most important thing. Let's define props. We're going to accept form as an object. Then we're working on the form. Group form. Let's provide form. Okay, if we go now in the group section, click new group, the form is still visible. Laravel devs. Click on submit. The Laravel devs group was created. I click on this, and the owner, I can start inviting others there. Okay, now let's go into about tab, and we're going to use this group form here, and we're going to provide form to be something. This is images form, and I'm going to define about form. We need name. We need auto approval, and we need about. However, I'm going to define these below props, and then I'm going to take props name, props auto approval, and props about. Then we're going to provide about form here, which by the way has an error. Now we see this content, and right here I'm going to put a button, which is going to be primary button with submit. Okay, why is the form not populated? Let's go in the profile section. Where's the profile slash view? This should be it. We have this about somewhere, right? It's called my profile. Let's search for my profile. Okay, what is going on? Update profile information. Okay, we use these from use page props. Let's try to do the same thing. Instead of props, these props, we're going to use, do we have this use page? But we have this for the auth user. We need now use page props. Let's define, actually, let's just directly use this. Props group name. Here we need group auto approval, and here we need group about. Let's see about page. It does not. Okay, now it provided that information. Let's open this Laravel devs. Okay, it provided. It doesn't have this enable auto approval, so I'm going to enable this, but I'm going to check also if that is affected in the group. Enable auto approval, here it is 0. Let's set this into, we don't handle the update. Let's go inside the group view. We need to call a function called update group. We have this about form. We're going to call put on that form. We're going to provide group update props group slug. We need preserve scroll to be true, and I think nothing else. We are going to open web.php, and we have this group create, and at the top we have everything related to group. Let's move this at the top. But we need this group create now, or group update as well. And here we need group to be selected by slug. That should be update. That should be put. We have this update group request, and we have store group request. Let's copy some of the rules from the store group request into update group request. In terms of the authorize, this should be allowed if, let's get group, this road group, okay, which is going to be an instance of the group, and we're going to do if group is admin for the current user auth ID Actually, we can simply return the result of this. Then inside the group controller, we get this. We don't need show, we can delete this. We have this update group request. We get on the group, we need to call update passing request validated data. And then we're going to return back with success. Group was updated. The validation is done right here. So if you are not admin of this group, you will not be able to update. Now let's check this. Wait. This new group has Laravel devs has one. So the auto approval checkbox should be selected, which is not selected. So let's search for auto approval. I'm going to call parse int, converting this into integer, and then calling double exclamation, which means not. Okay, I'm converting this into Boolean finally. So here I see this auto approval. I'm going to turn off auto approval, update the description, and update the name as well, and hit on submit. And I see the group was updated. I see the name was changed, and I reload the page, and I see everything is updated. Which is good. Right now, the auto approval is not enabled on this group. This is Laravel devs. So if I log out and a user log in, that user will have to request to join. Okay, we see this request to join. However, if John2 will log in its group and go inside about and enable auto approval, then Mary can simply click on join to the group, which will immediately add Mary inside this users section. And just like this, we have implemented updating the group name and the about content. In the next lesson, we're going to implement creating and rendering posts inside the group.